Double trouble with double crown. So, shadow banning. What the hell is that? Okay, I first learnt about shadow banning from the Alex Jones channel. Now, I love Alex Jones. He does a great job. He is an alternative media outlet, a news channel, well worth checking out. You've probably heard of him, one of the biggest YouTubers out there. But I learnt about shadow banning from Alex Jones. And what is it? Well, it's this idea of, for example, if you're a Twitter user, if you're a Facebook user, where you will be banned, but everything you do will appear as though, everything will appear to you as if nothing has happened, as if everything is normal, as if everything is fine. But of course, any comments that you post, nobody will be able to see them. From everybody else's perspective, you are banned. So that's this notion of shadow banning. Now, why would I talk about that? Don't worry, I haven't been shadow banned, at least not that I'm aware of. And of course, I wouldn't be aware of it. Even if you were shadow banned, you wouldn't be aware of it. But, I've been able to comment, and then people have replied back to me. So I guess that's one way of testing whether you have actually been shadow banned. But a more interesting phenomena is not shadow banning, but shadowing. And shadowing seems to be happening as well. Now, people might say, well, what is shadowing to begin with? Shadowing is where, for example, a good example is actually the Alex Jones channel. Now, Alex Jones, did you know there are two Alex Joneses? There's probably a whole lot more. But one of them is a mainstream presenter in the UK, a female presenter on a mainstream show called The One Show. A Welsh presenter. She is called Alex Jones, and of course you've got Alex Jones, the YouTuber, the alternative media outlet, and I think he's a radio show host as well, whatever. But that's an example of possible shadowing. Now, you could say, well, that's just a coincidence, but of course, in the world of conspiracy theories. You ask any good conspiracy theorist, they will tell you, don't fall for the "it's a coincidence" argument. Yeah, don't fall for that one. There's no such thing as a coincidence. In the world of conspiracy theories, everything is a synchronicity or it's a conspiracy. Now, the Welsh presenter Alex Jones, who presents The One Show, she is a mainstream presenter who presents, she's the anchor woman of this show, and she talks about mainstream stuff, and I just wonder whether she was chosen by the BBC. Was she chosen by the BBC because her name matches, this alternative media outlet? And of course, when you do a search for Alex Jones in the UK, the first thing that's going to pop up is the mainstream presenter, Alex Jones of The One Show. Now, obviously, the BBC would never admit that they've done such a thing, and perhaps it is just a coincidence, perhaps it's just one of those things, but it makes you wonder, because you watch The One Show, and you could watch The One Show for a week, you could watch it for 2 weeks, you could watch it for a month, you could watch it for a year, and literally everything that you'll see on The One Show is kind of forgettable. You watch it for a week, and 6 months later you will not remember a thing. It goes in one ear and it goes out the other. Yeah, there's nothing of significance on that show. Whereas if you listen to somebody like Alex Jones, the YouTuber, the alternative media outlet, the conspiracy theorist, if you listen to him, you know, it's going to make an impact. He says things of significance. It's not likely that you're just going to forget about it in a few weeks or whatever, or even in 6 months. You know, it's not this kind of stuff. It's not the kind of material you forget in a hurry. So that's an example. That's my example of shadowing. Is that actually going on? Now, I'm not saying I'm being shadowed or anything. You know, I'm just a nobody. You know, my YouTube channel is not doing particularly well. I'm just a nobody. I've only been YouTubing since 2014. So just over a year or whatever. And but my name, the moniker that I use for my YouTube channel is Dubble Krown. But I have a misspelling. I misspell double and I misspell crown, and that's deliberate. Yeah, so double is spelt like bubble but with a D, and crown is spelt with a K instead of a C. So that's a deliberate misspelling. But I have this account, Dubble Krown, and I started as a gaming channel, and I've kind of expanded into alternative media as well, and new age commentary, etc. But I've since discovered that there's another Dubble Krown now, and this Dubble Krown is also a gaming channel, and they started much later. You can check them out. They started later than I did. So again, that's an example of shadowing. Now, it's possible that it's pure coincidence. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. But this is an example of something that's going on, because of course now when you do a search, somebody searching for Dubble Krown, they might forget the misspelling, yeah, and I've done this misspelling deliberately. They might forget about the misspelling and just type in Dubble Krown, and of course they're going to end up finding this other gaming channel, and they're going to listen to that one instead. And well, if they like it, whatever. But you know, is that another way of kind of silencing people or shutting people down? This shadowing that's going on. But that's one type of shadowing. That's the online shadowing that occurs. But what about the stuff that happens offline? Now, I've noticed that street planning, for example, and councils, they might have their own strategies for shadowing. And how does that work? Well, from a street plan perspective, what you might have is, for example, if you've got a street, let's say that street is called 22nd Street. You might have 22nd Street South, and you might have 22nd Street North. And those two streets might be right next to each other. They might have the same numbers. So 22nd Street South will be from 1 to 100, and 22nd Street North will be from 1 to 100. And of course, if you send somebody a letter to somebody on 22nd Street, if you were to miss out the North or the South, the postman is not going to know which address to send it to. Do they send it to 22nd Street South, or do they send it to 22nd Street North? They're going to be confused, or it might be deliberate. For example, an official could decide to send somebody a letter on 22nd Street South, and they will just write 22nd Street on it without putting the South on it. They can then inform the postman to make sure it goes to South. The postman then delivers it. The guy's confused the person who gets the letter is confused because it doesn't have the north and the south on it. They're confused. They get this letter, this meaningless letter. Perhaps it's a message. Perhaps it's something that the officials want to tell that person. Yeah. So this is another type of shadowing that might be occurring, and this is occurring at the street level, yeah, in town planning. So shadowing, I'm not talking about shadow banning here, I'm talking about shadowing. Is this something that is actually going on?